I have one for you. How can I afford a real estate agent?
Man, how can you afford not to? It's a misconception. I mean, people, whenever you buy a house, that realtor is working for you and with the expectation to get paid by the seller. So as a buyer, you actually don't pay a realtor. That's one of the sweetest things about having representation as a buyer. You're not actually paying for that. The cost of your representation, somebody that's working on your behalf, is actually already in the price of the home.
Mm-hmm. It's already calculated in the cost.
It's already calculated in the cost. So whether you have a realtor or not, that cost has already been calculated in there. So if you go at it with no representation, nobody to protect you that has the knowledge of the market and just real estate laws, that money's still there. So, but when you go to sell a home, that there's commission that's paid on top of that. So when you go to sell a home, you are paying that commission for both your representation and the buyer's agent to come. So what we know to be true is that the right representation can usually bring you more money when you're selling a home. Mm-hmm. There are cases where people maybe don't have the equity in there, and that's conversations to have. But most of the time, a licensed professional is going to be able to bring somebody more money for their home than they could possibly get themselves, because we're putting it out there, the max exposure, where the whole world is seeing your property and mm-hmm. giving your home access to every buyer in the world. Whereas a person doing it themselves, they're leaving money on the table by only marketing to whoever drives by their home or whoever happens to be looking on Zillow. So it really does come down to, you can't really afford not to have that representation.
I think out there in the market, sometimes people think they can go directly to that agent selling the home to get a better deal. What is your view on that?
Yeah, and again, that the cost of your representation, the cost of a buyer's agent is already factored into those. So those people that go directly to the listing agent to get that deal, not only are they giving up their own protection, their own representation, but they're actually giving that listing agent, he's getting paid twice.
And he's a transaction broker now instead of representing one or the other. He's pushing.
And actually a lot of times when they're going directly to the listing agent, he's already signed, that listing agent has signed a contract with that seller saying, I have to do everything in your best interest, including work with this buyer that's represented. So you're dealing with somebody whose only interest is to serve their seller. And so you'll go through that whole transaction, with somebody that really only cares about the other side and their best interest. They're bound to legally. And so no money's being saved, the money's already spent, and you're going in blind.
And you're not being represented.
Not being represented. So
right. You don't know what you're buying potentially.
Yeah, and we have person after person, buyer after buyer, just tell us how much they appreciate the representation, the fact they can call us at any time with questions to ease their minds, and just having that knowledge of the market to make sure people don't overpay, make sure you know what to inspect for. Especially older homes, there's all sorts of things you could be inspecting for that could cost you thousands on the other end.
Speaking of older homes, do you feel like an older home is a better investment or the new construction we're seeing on the outskirts of town?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It varies, I guess I should say. There's no right or wrong there. There are people that prefer new construction because they want to be the first ones to break the home in. They want to have everything new. They don't have to worry about a new roof, new furnace. There's a school of thought that older homes were just built really well. Mm-hmm. And so what we tell people is if you like the older neighborhoods, the walkability, the big trees, the larger lots, if you like that and you don't want to do any work, you're worried about the old house stuff, there's plenty of there's 100-year-old homes in Brookside that have brand new roofs, brand new furnaces, but give you all those things. And they were built really well, by the way. They're older than all of us.
Right.
And they're still standing strong. But one is not better than the other. It's just personal preference. You get in newer homes, you typically get more space. You get more for your money.
Right.
So you get a brand new home, you can, for the same cost of a 2,000 square foot home in the older neighborhood, you could get potentially a 4,000 square foot home in the brand new neighborhood. So just personal preference. That's it. Okay, I've got one more for you.
Oh boy.
Maybe you can't answer this.
Uh-oh.
Can I get different interest rates with different lenders? So if I'm out there shopping, I want to get the best possible interest rates. I'm going to call 5 different lenders and see who gives me the best rate.
That's a good question. The mortgage industry is pretty tight. My rule of thumb verbiage on that is the industry should always be within an eighth, and we should be within a couple $100 of cost. It's that competitive. The challenge for the consumer is if they are shopping for a loan, they should do it in a very short duration of time because the interest rate market is moving just like the stock market. So if a client called me on Friday and I quoted them a rate, and they called the competitor on Monday and they got a different rate, well, my rate's different as well. So the market's always moving, but it's a very competitive environment. Generally speaking, I feel like, in Kansas City, realtors are very aware of the pre-approvals. It's wise to stay local and to get a good pre-approval from a good local operation here in Kansas City, and you'll do well.
Yeah. Yeah, little known fact, it's actually very easy to become a realtor and a lender. Anybody can do it with really no education.
Right.
And there's over 12,000 realtors, I'm sure with lenders, there's
thousands.
Thousands and thousands, yeah. So, people don't realize that when you go to a bank or when you call a real estate company or a realtor, you're dealing with somebody that could have literally just gotten out of business. And with the lending institution, it's so important that you become a lender, they'll stick you in front of a computer and say, hey, answer the phones.
Right.
Congrats, you're a lender.
Right.
So it becomes so much more than just shopping interest rates. It becomes about shopping the actual lender, the actual realtor themselves.
You don't know you need the realtor or the lender until it comes up.
Yeah.
And the challenge is when it comes up, you may not be with the right representation. And that's where deals go south, or there's delays. That costs thousands of dollars. Or, by the way, you don't buy your home now. You have to sit on the sidelines. So you want to work with a good, reputable lender and a good, reputable real estate agent. And it's very important. And within our industry right now, with the amount of competition, you need to be working with a professional.
Great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for helping us through this. This is our first video that we've ever done like this. And
Great.
What we did was think it's so important to get information out to people, especially now while the market's so crazy. So many people are entering the real estate market. And information is really power when it comes to buying and selling at home. The more info you have, the more powerful you are, the better investment you're going to make, or better return on your investment you're going to make. So we just really appreciate it. You're one of the best, and we couldn't ask for anybody better to come and help share with our people.
Well, appreciate your time and appreciate your opportunity. It's been such a pleasure to work with you over the years and looking for many more.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Here's the 2021.